How are you? Good morning. How are you?
I think we should ask, how are you?
I've been better.
Quite the morning.
I've been better. So our dogs got in a fight. I've already been to the vet. I had to go home and throw his shirt away. I did. It's in the trash. One dog is getting patched up, and the other dog is in the backyard, and he's not going to get any treats today. So,
yeah, the puncture wounds are no joke. Thank you.
You're welcome. See, this is what friends do. This is what girls do for each other.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's been quite a morning already, Allison Sinclair. And puncture wounds are no joke, especially when you feel like a bad dog mom and you didn't see the other puncture wound, not just the one beside the eye. It's been quite the morning. But you know what? It's okay. I'm here with y'all. And we're going to have an incredible day.
As JP says, it's going to be a great day.
It is going to be a great day.
Today is going to be the best day.
So just excited. Name it and claim it. Joel Osteen level stuff right here.
Paula White.
It's going to be a great day.
It's going to be so good.
The Lord will provide for you.
He will give us happiness and wealth and millions of dollars.
And all the bad things that happened to me today are because I'm such a sinner, apparently, in that theology.
Well, Amy Beth, that just means more will come right now. The Lord will not leave you without.
Hey, JP, the Lord is not something to be fun and games about.
No, sir. No, it's okay.
I do think we need to have a discussion because y'all were not picking up what we were putting down on allegedly.
Some of y'all
was really hoping we were going to talk about this, but it flittered out of my mind when I drove to the vet.
Notifying people that Coach is come on.
Oh,
give me about 2 seconds. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry, I'm distracted. Yeah, no, I think so. Yesterday, I did an allegedly on gambling and all that's happening in the state on gambling. And if you remember, allegedly happened very naturally on the show one day. We didn't even plan it. We started talking about some of the rumors we had heard.
Yes.
And so we started talking like this. Well, it has become one of the most popular segments in our show.
It's kind of crazy, Amma.
And so even yesterday, after the gambling one dropped, I got a call, ring, 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 right afterwards. It said, I don't ever watch anybody's stuff. I don't even watch y'all's stuff until allegedly comes out. and so the point is, some people were like, gambling is no joke. It's not something you make fun of. Some people thought we were making fun of someone with a speech impediment. I'm like, I just was trying to be really Southern. That's all. I don't even have anybody in mind. But the point is, a lot of people are talking about what's happening on the gambling front today because of that video. That is called a hook.
Yes, it is.
And we allegedly used that segment to hook you into a greater conversation of what's happening in our state. And it's really important. Some people didn't see why we did it that way.
Yeah, because I bet you're sick and tired of hearing Mo Brooks, and we do it in a light and fun way to try and bring you the news.
It's called, friends, it's called satire. And we love satire because it makes a greater point. And also, this is true. We love accents. And we have lamented many times on the show that we wish we had deeper accents, British accents, a more Southern accent, a New Jersey accent. Those are all done with great joy in our heart. It truly.
Well,
because, okay, I am still a speaker. I know psychologically, this is what they tell us. You're never more willing to listen than right after you've had a laugh. You are fertile ground. Your brain is like, I received that information. We want to start the conversation, but we're like y'all. We're sick and tired of getting screamed at by all the other shows, and that is not who we are. It hasn't been, and it never will be. But we also like to employ that little used gift in humanity called humor and satire.
The topic was a very serious topic, and
Yes.
anybody think that we are pro gambling, you could not be more wrong.
You don't
We
know us
weren't
if you
making
think
fun
that.
of the situation at all, but we are not your average show, and we, like Ab said, we never have been, we never will be. So we have different ways. We're a little Gutfeld mixed with
We're Glenn.
Laura Ingram.
We are. We're Glenn Beck when he first started.
I see. I didn't watch him. Maybe
He was funny and then serious, and then funny and then serious. And you'd go, is he serious right now? Rush was hilarious.
okay.
And he used satire. He employed satire beautifully. We want to do the same thing.
What is the definition of satire?
So, JP, can you ask the Googles, because I'm going to give the AB version. I'd rather give the Dr. Google version, but it's taking something that seems too precious to even poke fun at and busting it wide open with a different look at that subject, mocking it a little bit, exploring it a little bit, poking fun at it a little bit. All the while, the point is to grow the conversation in a creative way that's not just, gambling's terrible and we're all going to die. For example.
That's a good example.
Is that fair?
The Dr. Google definition is the use of humor, irony, exaggeration, or ridicule to expose and criticize people's stupidity or vices, particularly in the context of contemporary politics and other topical issues.
I can't help it if you did it beautifully yesterday. So much so that people thought you were so serious that we just had to get rid of Amma. Amma is absolutely just destroying humanity.
Oh.
Y'all, I just want to let you know, in my life, when I'm holding on to something real tight, like my leash when I take my dog into the doctor and they're like, we're going to have to take you straight back because he is so loud. I, in that moment, could choose to feel humiliated because my dog has a short snub and he breathes like that, like he's like a bulldog, but he's a bull mastiff. And so I could choose to be embarrassed because also he shook his ears this morning and blood went flying.
Is that why you had to throw away your shirt?
Yes, I did. And I could have chosen in that moment because all the ladies at the front desk were not having my dog or his loudness or me. And they were like, it's the quickest I've ever gotten in a room. It is absolutely the quickest, Amma. And I could have chosen to be humiliated because I was holding on to Moose with all my might. He weighs 115 pounds and he was dragging me along. And I was just there and everybody in the weight room was staring and they were staring and nobody was smiling. And I was like, where's my doctor? And then they were like, we're going to take you back now, Miss Shaver. And I was like, okay. And I got in the room and you know what I chose? I chose joy. I chose not to be embarrassed or humiliated because I could have been, and I have been before, because my dog is loud and he spilt blood and I was embarrassed, but I thought, you know what? This is funny and I'm going to see the fun in it, even though there's nothing fun about my other dog nearly taking my dog's eye out and poking a giant hole in his head. And I chose to laugh.
Well, okay.
Because I was in a safe place because I was like, I'm here. They're going to handle it. But it's all the way you see it, girls and boys. That's all the way you see it. And that's all. That's all. I'm just delivering that analogy from my wrecked life this morning.
Let me give.
Is that okay?
Let me give Abs props, okay? Because we talked yesterday about she's always on it. She walked in today. You would not have known that she had to change her clothes because she had blood on them, and that she had the morning she had. She comes in, she's the same Abs. She's on it. So we give you props that you chose joy, but you're once again on it. Like, if I had to go home and change my clothes again, I would have just walked in a hoodie and sweatpants and flip flops and like
you do every day.
Yeah.
I tried, but do you know, does that make sense?
Well, I think
Thank you, JP.
I
Thank
think the
you.
point is that life is hard. Life is hard enough.
Yes, ma'am. That's it.
Some of the things the Lord brings you is hard, and you have to deal with them. But when life is hard and you can have a
serious.
little fun, you should.
Yes.
So Anyway, my point is, no disrespect to, actually, I love Mo Brooks.
Yeah, we do.
I
Big
really,
fans.
I really do like Mo Brooks. No disrespect to him. No disrespect to anyone that has a super Southern accent. No disrespect to anybody that's anti-gambling. It's just, we just had a little fun. And that's what we like to do.
We do like to
And
do.
I really hope Tommy Tuberville is not on the stream, y'all.
He
He
is not.
okay,
Okay,
good.
good. But Allison's right. Life is hard. It is serious. And it is how you look at it. For a moment, we have to laugh. God put a piece of silver in a fish's mouth, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
We can have a little fun, but I had to live in that space this morning of what am I going to choose? And so I lived it this morning, but please understand, and we may have to have these conversations every quarter or so, but we are going to laugh and poke fun as often as we can, even in the middle of deadly serious situations, because sometimes it is the only thing that relieves the pressure of the moment. Fair?
Fair.
We actually got some text from Brad from Crimestone about
Oh, Brad.
this. He says, the Lord is not something to joke about, but Joel Osteen and Paula White are all caps. Absolutely some things to joke about mercilessly.
Yes.
Which, yeah, I was mocking Joel Osteen, not the Lord, when I was doing my Joel Osteen accent. But he also says, right on about Glenn Beck. I loved how he could be deadly serious, uproariously funny, and then deadly serious all in one breath. And how about a way back Wednesday? Remember Limbaugh's Keep Our Own Kids Safe campaign? When done well, it's super effective. Done poorly, well, people at church get upset. Ask me how I know.
We need to meet Brad at some point.
But here's the thing, y'all. If we have to apologize for everything we do, like at some point, and I was kind of disappointed, and this is more than I want to talk about it, but some of the people that were commenting, and I don't know, it's hard to read over text, whatever. I'm like, you know us.
Yeah.
You know us.
Mm-hmm.
You're choosing to be upset.
You're choosing to be upset. And this is what's frustrating in politics or media or whatever it is, even in life. You can do and say the right thing 99% of the time. And that 1%, there's always somebody that's going to come after you and be like, but, and to that I say, you need something else to focus on.
Yeah. That's it. It's
something else to do.
It is literally what you choose.
Clock it.
Allison.
I don't even know what that means.
No, it's market. Market. You got it.
No,
notice it. Clock it.
Oh, market.
You're right. That's it.
Also, real quick, I before Coach comes on, I may need to scooch just like a couple inches to the left to be in.
Which way's left?
You're right. Sorry.
This way?
Yeah.
Are we good?
I asked it right there. Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to get it right before Coach.
Got to get it right for Coach. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
This is
Senator Tommy Tuberville.
By the way, good morning. I'm Amy Beth Schaefer. She's Allison Sinclair. He's JP, and this is the right side. It's almost like we had our own little monologue organically before we did our introduction. I kind of liked it.
Now we have
accident.
to make a group decision.
Yes, ma'am.
Do I put on the hat or not?
If you want to put the hat on, put the hat on.
You know, that's
It's a cute hat.
since it was
going to be like, you should wear the hat.
Since it was your husband's idea, I'll leave it up to you.
Oh, if it was his idea, girl, put the hat on.
Yeah, but that might be even worse.
That was a joke.
Do you want to put it in the middle of the table?
What? Are you saying I only do things?
No.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm going to do it.
Okay, put it on. Listen.
Oh, Coach is on whenever we're ready. So.
Oh, sweet. Oh, I'm so excited. Hold on. Let
Now
me get my
we're ready.
questions.
Now we're ready. To that, I say clock it.
Clock it.
You ready?
I'm ready. Hold on. I'm grabbing. Nope. I'm not ready.
Abs.
Go ahead.
No,
Let's
we got 1 minute till 10:15.
Go.
But
All
he's
right.
here already.
here. Let's
He's
go.
early. Are we
Let's go.
ready to go?
I believe we're ready to go.
All right.
All right. I got it.
We've got Coach, Senator, so many names. Tommy Tuberville with us. Welcome to the show.
I love your hat, Allison.
Yes, well, thank you. We debated whether I should wear it, and I said, I'm an Auburn girl. I'm wearing it.
Beth, where's your hat?
She didn't bring a hat for me.
We
It's
only
kind of
got
upsetting.
one. We
Oh
need
my
to get
goodness.
I know. I mean, like the middle of the table would have been great, but
Okay,
Mr.
fine,
Sinclair said,
fine.
no, it's fine.
There we go. We can share.
Your husband said to wear it. Wear it.
Okay.
We
A husband
we love
said to.
husbands around here. So
Coach, how's it going? Okay, you're back in DC. And like we say around here, what the hell county is going on up there? It's very confusing.
It's a clown show. And by the way, this is celebration day up here because this is tax day, because all these bureaucrats up here are just fired up about y'all sending y'all's tax money up here where they can steal it and do whatever with it instead of helping the American people. You know, there's a lot of good things that happen up here, but the problem is the system's broken. We got so many people worried about getting reelected and they don't do their jobs. And then you have these third world country people that have moved in like Ilhan Omar and all that are making decisions for a country they hate. Now you tell me we're not going in the wrong direction.
okay. Yeah, you are going in the wrong direction. And we like having you up there, but we're gonna love having you back in Alabama. Okay. All
I'm
right.
looking forward to it. I'm looking
Well,
forward to it.
we are. But while you're still there, question. Do you think the Save America Act is dead? I know there's been talks of making it a reconciliation bill or nuking the zombie filibuster, but it seems like even Republican leadership doesn't have the appetite to do what needs to be done. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I was voted in by the Alabama people to vote for them and vote for our country and do as much as we possibly can to make our country not just good, but great and even better and better. The problem is we have a system up here that is a simple majority in the House, but in the Senate, to get anything passed, you have to have 60 votes total. And we only have 53 Republican senators. So we can't get anything done. The Democrats, they are bound and determined not to let Donald Trump get anything done. And so for us to do anything, we have to do what we call reconciliation, which if you have the House and the Senate and the White House, you can do a couple of bills a year that only takes 51 votes. And we call it reconciliation. Now it's a process, but it always has to do with our budget. You can't just put random things in there like the Save America Act unless it has money involved in it. So what we're trying to do is figure out a way to put a little money in it to where it goes to every state to make our elections safer and better for our country. And so we're working on that process as we speak. But at the end of the day, if it was my druthers, I would say I'm done with 60 votes. We can say bust the filibuster. We're going to vote on everything, and it's only 51 votes, and it's not under reconciliation rules. It's just a bill that will be passed, because what's going to happen is as soon as Democrats get control, the next time they will vote it in of 51 votes, no 60, and they will ransack the United States of America in terms of the Supreme Court. They'll add Washington, D.C. as a state. I mean, it will be a clown show up here more than what it is today. And we'll never get control again. It'll be over.
Agree. Absolutely agree.
President Trump put out a truth about FISA 702 section kind of coming back up. I think it will start in the House. There's maybe talk of leaving it as it is or amending it. What do you think should happen with that?
About FISA?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need it simple for the fact that there's so much shenanigans up here that we need to have an opportunity for people to be investigated. The only reason we wouldn't pass this and renew the extension of it is people behind the scenes going, hey, they're getting close to the posse is getting close to us. We don't need to be caught in any of the shenanigans that we're pulling off. So I think it's a good system that we use FISA as long as it's used in the right way. Now, it was used against President Trump, but it wasn't used because you had some clowns for attorneys and judges that pushed it through that didn't do it for the right reasons. It's like anything else. You can abuse anything you want to, especially in politics, if you get a couple of people to agree with you. The problem I have is what's going on up here now is we all saw Anthony Fauci, Mayorkas opening the borders, who all just lied to us, and nobody's going to jail for it. I mean, nobody's being prosecuted. And And again, it goes back to what I said earlier. There's nothing that goes on up there that really happens to help the American people. Everything up here is to protect, the system, the swamp. And we've got to get away from that. President Trump's trying his heart out, but he's really one of the few.
Yeah.
So let's pivot for a second to Alabama, specifically Montgomery. The Montgomery police chief and mayor said the legislature and judges are to blame for the killing spree happening in Montgomery. If they won't do their job, and clearly they're not, what is your plan for the city when you become governor?
Yeah, we're working on that as we speak. It's not just Montgomery now. We got other cities in the state that are just as dangerous. It's just not as publicized. But I'm not going to allow, once I'm governor, if I'm lucky enough to be elected, I'm not going to allow the people of the state of Alabama to live in a war zone or live in unsafe neighborhoods if we can help it. Now, a lot of them have got to a point now, it's going to be very, very hard, but we're going to give it good old college try, and we're going to put more people intact. We're going to give more people authority. We're going to go after these corrupt judges that when these people are arrested, they go through the front door and let them out the back door. That's going to be over with. And, at the end of the day, we have got to do what's right for the people of the state of Alabama, because here's the deal. I would love to drop state income tax, property tax, but you can't do that. The only way you can do it, and I learned this from President Trump, I've spent a lot of time talking to him about it, and he's doing the same thing here for the entire country. We have to get and grow our state. President Trump's trying to grow the country. So we're going to do it on a smaller scale, and we're doing that. We have submarines coming in, building submarines at Muscle Shoals. We got Eli Lilly coming in. We've got the Coast Guard Academy coming in. We got jobs. We're building more jobs. But that's the way you get away from any of these taxes, is you grow your state. You have a better tax base in terms of where you can, more people paying taxes, you can drop taxes. So to do that, you got to have power, you got to have transportation, but you have to have security of your state. And for me to go out there and recruit somebody, and I won't tell this story other than just part of it. President Trump called me and says, "Coach, I'm going to move this to your state. You can do whatever you want with it." My understanding is some of this area that you're wanting to move it to is not very secure. I'm not going to send a agency to an area that is not secure. And I promised him, "Mr. President, you send this to where we're going to put it, I promise you we will be secure. We are not going to let the animals run the zoo." And so that's going to be one of my priorities, is starting out making Alabama safe on all areas. We got some great places to live. We got some not as protected, but we're going to have more law enforcement officers. We're going to do everything we possibly can do to go after these bad judges, and we're going to put people in jail, and we're going to throw away the key, because we are not going to lose our state because we can't grow because we're letting people do things that they're not supposed to be doing.
Kind of along those lines, and you answered, I had a question about the income tax, and it sounds like you support, we're watching states around us do away with income tax. It sounds like you would support that if there was a way to make up the budget differences. Little bit of a pivot, but I know along the same lines, we talked about this week, there's a public school in Nashville, Tennessee, that has now adjusted their bell schedule to allow times for Muslim times of prayer. And they have a special room in the public school where they can get out of class and go pray. What are your thoughts on that? As we live in the Inverness kind of Meadowbrook area. We went through the whole, the Islamic Academy wanting to move into Meadowbrook and Shelby County. There's a creep. I know they're buying places in Pelham. How do we combat the incompatible, really cultures, and what's your plan for that?
Well, you hit it right there. It's a culture. Some people up here call it a religion. You tell me a religion that teaches hate and preaches death to people that don't go by their way of life. And in the state of Alabama, we're going to give them the opportunity to leave. We're not going to have that in our state. We are going to fight it. We're going to let them know from day one that we're not going to be teaching Sharia law. We're not going to be going by the Quran. We're a Christian country. And we want people in Alabama to feel safe. Now, I'm not against Muslims, but there's a difference between being a Muslim and being in Islam, to where you go by Sharia law and you teach the Quran. And we're not going to teach it in schools. And if they're building their own schools, they're going to be teaching the same curriculum that you're going to have in Mobile or Dothan or Birmingham. Everybody's going to have the same curriculum. We're going to teach AI. We're going to teach Christian values. And we're going to do things that are going to be compatible to this country, United States of America. We are not changing our country to a third world country. That's not happening. And we're dang sure not going to change the state of Alabama. So we're going to be on the prowl. And I'll tell them that right now. And again, I'm not against anybody, but you're not going to come in and change our way of life and our culture because you want to come here and do that. There's 57 Muslim countries around the world. If you want to do it, go home, but you're not welcome in our country.
We appreciate that very much, because we have friends and families reaching out to us because they're concerned, but it is reassuring to hear you say that we're for people, but you're not going to be allowed to do that in our schools. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Be an American, go by our Constitution, go by our laws. Don't start your own team. Basically, that's what you're doing. You're starting your own team here in our country. We've already got a team. It's called Americans, and you're going to be on our team. If you don't want to be on our team, hey, we'll give you a ticket to go home. President Trump will pay you. We might do the same thing in Alabama. We'll give you a plane ticket to go home. But we are not going to change the culture of Alabama just because some people want to come in and change it to their way of life. Again, it is not a religion. It is a cult. And we do not deal with cults in our state.
Wow. I know you have a busy schedule today. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Would love to have you, if you're ever in Birmingham, come by the studio. We call it the Treehouse. You can come hang out and say, hey, you can bring Amy Beth a hat.
Yeah, I'd love a hat.
We can all be on the same.
I'm bringing that hat.
I'll wear it.
Have a great day. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
Well, he doesn't mince words.
He doesn't.
Never has. I think that's like, love him or hate him, whatever you think. I mean, at least you know where you stand.
Exactly. It is refreshing to have somebody who doesn't need to do this. We need more people like that, who this is not the best job they've ever had. We've said that repeatedly, who is very clear headed, very plain spoken, and it's frankly delightful. We need that desperately in our state.
And you know what I appreciate? I feel like Senator Tuberville transitioning into governor, not that kind of transition.
We're going to have another female governor?
Yes! Surprise! I feel like, there are going to be some things that we disagree on, but I feel like you could say it to him and he'll be like, well, nope, that's why I want to do this, and you can have that debate and you can have that disagreement and then just move on. I appreciate somebody that can operate that way.
That's right.
So, JP, I think we need to go to a break.
Well, maybe it just came in when you said that.
Perfect timing.
Who knew? It's like I've done this before. Y'all will be back on the other side with more news.
Time with Pamela Casey, candidate for Alabama Attorney General.
Pamela started her career in the Attorney General's office in Alabama and became the Assistant Attorney General and then later on the Deputy Attorney General.
Pamela then became elected District Attorney of Blount County and was reelected in 2016 and in 2022.
In this interview, we discuss what makes her qualified for the role as Attorney General in Alabama and get to know her background, and even some fun questions just to get to know Pamela as a person.
We hope you enjoy the following conversation with Pamela Casey. Welcome. We are joined by District Attorney Pamela Casey, who is also running for Attorney General of Alabama. Welcome. How are you?
Good. Thank y'all for having me. It's a beautiful studio you have here.
Thank you. So let's just dive in. What qualifies you to be Alabama's next Attorney General?
Well, I'm the only one in this race that's actually tried a criminal jury trial. I've actually, for the last almost 20 years, have been working on behalf of the state of Alabama, putting killers and predators and human traffickers in prison and protecting our families and our children. I've been in front of the Court of Criminal Appeals, the Court of Civil Appeals, the Alabama Supreme Court, all the federal courts, and really had the ability to handle any job within that AG's office. I actually worked there. That's where I started my career. Assistant Attorney General. I was in capital litigation, our death penalty cases, and violent crimes. So going across the state prior to getting elected DA.
And who was the Attorney General? Was that Troy?
Troy,
King? Yeah.
General King at the time.
Okay. Wow. I did not know that.
I didn't either.
What do you think the biggest weakness in Alabama's criminal justice system is today?
We do not have enough time for me to tell you all the weaknesses.
Okay, we got about 3 minutes for this
3
answer.
minutes. Number one, sentencing guidelines has kind of taken over prosecutors and judges' ability to sentence appropriately. So we have these repeat offenders that are continuing to get out. We really fill out a worksheet and you put a number and it tells me, is this a prison in or prison out? And I don't think the public understands this. It's not if you look at the statutes that's written, a Class C felony is a year and a day to 10 years. That's not the way the worksheets work. Your first offense, you are not going to prison, even if you break into someone's home and steal everything that's in their house. Under the worksheets, it doesn't work that way. So that came out in 2013. Those were voluntary, and I voluntarily didn't do them until I was told that I had to do them. And so I think that's one of the main issues affecting the criminal justice system right now is we can't put offenders, especially, and repeat offenders, if you look, somebody can commit multiple crimes before they're eligible to go to prison. And let's say
before they're eligible?
Before they're eligible to go to prison. Nonviolent offenses, you got your burglaries, your thefts, your drug cases. And so what's even more frustrating, let's say you're in non-prison on the worksheets and you get out on community corrections, or let's say you're going to probation and you keep testing positive for drugs. Every time you come in, you're hot for meth. They finally file a revocation. The judge has got to dip you, dunk you before they could ever potentially revoke you. And so I don't think the public understands. We talk about prison overcrowding and people are saying, oh, there's somebody in prison that just had a little pot on them. I'm going to tell you, I think that's very rare. And if it's because they had just a little pot on them, they probably had a very long priors, habituals to even be eligible, or they could not abide by the rules of probation to keep themselves out of jail. So, I think we've got to work on our sentencing structure. I'm a huge proponent of truth in sentencing. 3 means 3, 5 means 5, 10 means 10, 30 means 30. And I think that would change our prison overcrowding. I think it would change. It would let me tell victims, they're going to be in jail for 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. So I think that's one of the main issues that we currently have with the criminal justice system in Alabama is our sentencing structure.
Can I ask a quick follow-up question?
Yes.
So what makes the difference? Is it just who's filling out? Is it literally just a worksheet?
It's literally a worksheet. So I'm going to circle.
Like a ditto from back in
the
the 80s?
It gives me a list of the crimes. I circle and it gives me a score and I put it in a little box. And then I come down here and I say, do they have any other priors? 0 to 1 gets a number, 2 to 4 gets a number, 5, and then I give it another little number. And then I add the numbers up at the end, and I have a little book. I flip to the back, and I go, okay, if they scored this number, this is what I can do. They're in or they're out. It would blow your mind. And I'll tell you what else people in Alabama don't understand. I give someone a 15-year sentence. Just this week, I had a sex offender who had a rape second. A rape second would have been eligible for 2 to 20 years. That was off the worksheets, right? Because it was a violent crime. 15 years was the sentence. I got notice he was up for parole after 2 years and 7 months.
What?
Yes, absolutely. 2 years and 7 months up for parole for a rape second and a sodomy second. Absolutely.
And is he out?
No, we'll have a parole hearing. We oppose those, but it comes down to the parole board. The parole board could release them. Now, when he gets out, he'll be a sex offender, but that doesn't stop the fact that there's a victim out there that when you say, and I have to tell my victims, look, 15 doesn't mean 15. You're going to EOS earlier. And so, but it was just another example. It's almost a slap in the face to the law enforcement officers who work it, the prosecutors who work it, and the victim who endured it, for us not to be able to make sure those violent offenders are staying where they need to be.
Wow. I had no idea.
None. I have so many questions in so little time. Okay. Do you think Alabama has an activist judge problem?
So one good thing about Alabama's judges, I think, is that we elect our judges, our local judges. Federal court judges are appointed by the...
And if that weren't enough news, with our interview with Coach. There's plenty more where that came from. I'm Amy Beth. She's Allison. He's JP. We are the right side. And you know what? It's what's happening.
What's happening?
Was good.
What's good?
What's up, brother?
What's up, brother?
So, everyone, buckle up. We've got the news.
Is that in our montage?
That's your cue.
That was the new
JP.
cue. I was waiting for the JP to take it away.
Sorry. Take me home.
So for those of you wondering why I don't have really flowing, long, blonde hair right now, I'm on stage here instead of our friend Erica Kirk. That's right. Because unfortunately, she has received some very serious threats in her direction.
This whole thing is really about no nuclear. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. And if they're going to have a nuclear weapon, we'll be living with them for a little while, but I don't know how much longer they can survive. I don't know how much longer they can go.
Remember why the U.S. House of Representatives no longer has the PAGE program. Only the Senate retains it. Because of this behavior. Because young children who would go from their schools to learn from our leaders were literally assaulted by members of Congress.
The most important part about this story, and look, Swalwell is a scumbag. He is a terrible person, the worst of the worst, the lowest of the low, the most dishonest of the most dishonest. But the real story here is how the Democrat Party controls its members through blackmail. It's got a blackmail file on all of its politicians, and it uses them to leverage and control them until it's time to release it. That is how sick and twisted the Democrat Party is. That's the next thread we've got to pull out here, Jeff.
I'm not going to speak for the president. I'm speaking for myself, a lifelong Catholic. I wish they stay out of immigration. They don't know what they're talking about. Because if they wore my shoes for 40 years and talked to a 9-year-old girl that got raped multiple times, or stood in the back of tractor trailer with 19 dead aliens at my feet, including a 5-year-old boy that baked to death, if they understood the atrocities that happen on an open border, I think their opinion would change. And I welcome a discussion with any of them.
See, it's always best if the person within the family group does the speaking.
Yeah, that's how, I'm fine with that. You know, if a reporter asks you, hey, the Pope said this about immigration, you're the, border czar, what do you think? Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. That's different than, how Trump burst it. But yeah, I thought that was good.
It was really good. Okay. First, what did you guys think about Erica Kirk having to not attend an event because of death threats? I mean, we're really still doing this? Really?
I don't know. Who are the death threats coming from? Do we know?
Please hold.
Or are we just saying there were death threats?
Well, they're saying there were death threats. So this event was in Athens, Georgia last night. I believe it was in the Georgia basketball arena. There's not a lot of people there. It was like 25% filled.
Is that because there were death threats or
I don't
bomb
know.
threats?
Because
or...
I think Erica pulled out kind of right before the event, a couple hours or so. But some people are claiming that there were no death threats and she actually wasn't there because the attendance was going to be low. I don't know, but
I've got Mary Margaret Olahan from the Daily Wire, and she said regarding the threats to Erica Kirk that prevented her from attending, this is from yesterday, today's event with Vice President Vance, a TPUSA official tells me that their security had been monitoring the situation in the days leading up to the event. People were doxing her travel location and trying to track her arrival and departure. I'm told that there were multiple direct threats against Erica specifically. This ultimately led to her security's assessment that they couldn't guarantee her safety. The event venue itself was fine, especially once VP was on site, but it was a travel portion that was of chief concern. Her children are one parent away from being orphans, and so we take security assessments seriously. And so that's what I had seen. And then Meg Basham had reposted that and included some other situation, other details that we know. We've talked about Candace Owens ad nauseum on the show, But that was why, according to the Daily Wire and their reporting, she could not attend. So,
I mean, I guess she has to make those hard decisions, or somebody does, of what to do. I don't really have many thoughts on it. I guess it's just the world we live in.
Well, it's the world we live in, but Candace Owens, whenever she's doing entire documentaries on Erica Kirk and her connections to Charlie's death, when there's not even a lick of evidence of, a lick of credible evidence to say that's the case, that certainly does not help. And it's really frustrating because, yeah, obviously, you know, when you're a public figure like that, especially in politics, you're going to get threats, but to the point to where they're tracking, you know, her travel and such, like, it makes me mad because I look back at all of the things that Candace Owens and others have said about Erica with no evidence whatsoever. And then Drewski did that video where he was mocking Erica. You know, it's just like, it doesn't help. And especially when she's trying to raise her kids who just lost their father, you know? So I don't know exactly. These people would have or could have done this without Candace saying anything. You know, there's evil people out there, but it frustrates me because it's like the Candace Owenses of the world are not helping that situation.
and on top of that, Tyler Robinson's written confession to his lover, I use that term loosely, presented in court, is also compelling, so that you would think people would go, all right, fine. Just leave it all alone. Can you just let her go live her life? Like, what are you trying to accomplish by doxing her travel location other than to scare her? I mean, honestly.
But what does she do? I mean, because they can, if it say she has an event tomorrow night, is she just going to stop doing events? Do they up her security? Do they have to, I mean, you would think that they would have it kind of nailed down, because I would think this isn't the first time that she's had those threats. So I don't know what she's going to do from here. It sounds like she needs a lot more help, because she doesn't seem like one that's just going to sit down and not keep going.
Okay. Take this with me to its conclusion. Are they ultimately trying to take her out and just get her out so that somebody else can move in? Like,
Who's they?
Who are they? The people who are doxing her, the people who are trying to scare her, the people who are making her location known and her way miserable. Are they trying to take her out and remove TPUSA from having any influence at all? Is this related to their Christian influence? Or are these just idiots seeking attention?
Well, there's a reason why it's her. I guess I'm wondering if it's the same people. Is it the same group, the same crazy leftist group that took Charlie out? Or is this coming from the crazy right?
Good question.
I don't know.
If you ask me, I would, my assumption would be it's more likely it's the crazy right, unfortunately, because I mean, at least from what I can see, the left obviously don't like Erica, but it's the Candace Owens crowd that are convinced she killed Charlie that are so insane and are willing to believe that sort of thing. Like I said, I don't have any evidence to say that, but unfortunately, I feel like the Candace Owens fans of the world would be the ones more likely to do that.
I'm sorry.
Well, no, go ahead.
No, you go.
No, you go. You go. So if something does happen to her, is there some sort of repercussion for Candace? I mean, this is like bullying online, telling somebody to commit suicide and then they do, and you're held responsible for that. Like, do you think there's any legal repercussions, or can you Candace seems look, she's off her rocker, but she seems, in her body language and what she says, she is very confident. How could you go out and say those things if you at least didn't believe that you thought you were saying the truth, even though it might be your made up truth? But do you think there are legal repercussions if something does happen to her?
Unfortunately not. I mean, it'd be one thing if she was like, doxing Erica herself. And normally I'm the one, I normally believe like commentators aren't responsible for their fans and what they do. You know, that's when they're being sincere. With Candace, it's different in my opinion because it's so malicious. She has thrown out countless different, breaking Egyptian plane. And then when that one falls apart, it's like, oh, well, she was here on the, and then that falls apart. She's trying to find anything that will get her views, but it's all with the intent of bashing Erica. So I don't know if legally anything could be done. Like I said, unless Candace actually directly says, hey, Erica's here, that sort of thing. But it's so malicious and it's so evil what Candace is doing. And I typically am not the one to go down that route with commentators, but it's just so disingenuous and malicious.
I have one last question as both of you are speaking.
Yes, ma'am.
What is Candace's point and the others who are seeking to do exposés or the crazy right? What is their ultimate goal if they are so wrapped up in this exposure and so determined to point out perhaps Egyptian planes, not the real hospital? Look, I have records, all these kind of crazy. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to tell us that there are conspiracies? Are they trying to prove a conspiracy? And then what next? If the conspiracy is proven, what are you going to do then? Like, what comes after that? What is your point if you're idolizing and obsessed? What is the actual end result?
Well, it's always to expose the cabal, to expose I think that whole group, I think they do think there is a group of people that plotted to take him out for whatever reason. I don't know whether it's because he spoke too much Jesus, whether it was because he was questioning Israel. That's what a lot of them will say. Whatever, maybe it's because he was making too much money and they wanted his money. I don't know. But that is exactly, I mean, they're trying, they think they're exposing some grand scheme. And it's hard because your human brain wants to put pieces together. It wants to see a logic. It wants to see a story. And if you allow yourself, you can kind of put a story together with anything, even if it's not true. And that's what they're trying to do here. What I've always said about Candace or Tucker, because we didn't talk about Tucker's post yesterday. Oh, yeah. I'd love to talk about that.
What post?
Well, exactly. I'll tell you in a moment because we need to talk about it. Is like there's a little bit of truth in what they all say. And I think that's the most dangerous part. There probably are some people, as he was talking about, what is our obligation to Israel? Do we do whatever they say all the time? Is this, are they leading us somewhere we should? Just generally talking about foreign policy or wars or whatever it is. But that doesn't mean Israel killed Charlie Kirk. Do you know what I'm saying? And so you can kind of piece it together if you want to. And when you throw those little bits of truth in there, people go, oh, well, the rest of it must be true. And that's not always the case. And you have people, and I think it's why this reminds me of Tucker, because there are some things Tucker says that you're like, wait, that still rings true. And then you keep reading and you go, does that mean that's true? And most people don't stop to tease apart the differences, I guess. Anyway, before we move on from Erica.
What do you think, Abs? What do you think their goal is with it?
I do think their goal is to expose the cabal. But as we think Christianly, as our pastor says, ultimately, if you're trying to expose the cabal, okay. But our responsibility is still for us to be good citizens in our communities. And our responsibility is still to be involved with our churches and our surrounding areas and with our local and city government. Like, that's our responsibility, to do good work, to live a good, average, ordinary life. That's your job. Because at the end of the day, the more conspiracies we get into, the more we think we can solve them, the less God has anything to do with it. And that's not true. It seems like they just want to solve all these things and look at what I've done and here we are and look at what I've exposed. And yet it says that he who sits enthroned on high laughs, that we're still called to take dominion. And so it looks like the more you dig into a conspiracy, the less responsible you are to be responsible for your own life. Because see, all these outside forces, I can't do that. I'm not responsible. When really we are. We're always responsible for us. But when we're looking for the log in everybody else's eye, or the splinter in everybody else's eye, and don't deal with our own log, then we're shirking our responsibilities to just be a good human. And that frustrates me, that the more that this goes on, it just seems like such a waste of good brain cells, good investigation, but for what point? Because we're supposed to take dominion of our own communities. And so I don't see any of that. I just see more conspiracies growing like rabbits having baby rabbits. And it grows and grows and grows to what end? Does that make sense?
It really
They
does.
have baby rabbits.
Yeah. Cute baby rabbits, but you're still responsible for you. And so we stay distracted and apart from our purpose. And that's what's frustrating to me at the end. Because what are you accomplishing when you're doxing somebody's location? You're trying to take her out. For what reason? So that she's ineffective, so you'll be more effective? That's what weak people do. I'm frustrated by it all.
Yep.
You don't have any other thoughts?
Well, I agree. I don't know. I actually don't read into it as much of, I mean, in terms of why they're running with the conspiracies, I think y'all are correct. I think they think they're going after the cabal of the evil people behind the scenes that had to take Charlie out, and Erica was in on it. So obviously they got to go after her. I think that's 100% the reason they're doing it. In terms of the people that, and like we said, we don't know the details of the threats or who was, tracking her or whatever. My gut tells me it's just crazy people that listen to the Candace Owenses and the others, and their just reaction is, oh, she killed Charlie. Well, obviously we got to kill her. That's kind of I don't know if they do like thinking of, well, she's got to be taken out because turning point. I think they just, the Candace Owenses of the world play off of their craziness of there's a cabal out there and they took out Charlie and Erica is in on it. And then they're like, wow, well then we got to go get her. I think that's what it was. But it's frustrating because Candace Owens is not stupid. So I think I know she knows what she's doing, and it's malicious and it's evil. And I don't know, you can see it in her eyes almost. I hate to be that guy, but whenever you hear her talking about Erica and the whole Charlie situation, it's almost like you can see in her eyes of part of it is grieving. And I don't think she knows how to grieve Charlie's death correctly. But then there's the twist of it of she's got Erica honed in and it's malicious, like it's evil. So I pray for Candace that she can rid that, but that's unfortunately where it's coming from.
I think dovetailing with this is this post that Tucker put out yesterday. And I think it's a worthwhile discussion maybe on the other side, because we've got to start seeing through some of these things that are happening. And it stinks because I like Tucker since his bow tie days.
Amen.
And was giving him the benefit of the doubt. He's a new believer. He just needed some theology lessons, read his Bible a little more, a little guidance. But I think we've way past that. So we'll get to that on the other side. We've got hot flash news and more montage news. We'll be back.
I've got a really good friend who's on the bench, a federal judge now that we work together at the AG's office. So we have had them. I know that when I was at the AG's office, we would have situations where death penalty cases would sit in federal court on habeas for 10 and 12 years because the judges wouldn't rule on them and there was no timeline for them to rule. So if they opposed the death penalty, they would have their original trial court habeas process and say, okay, we'll get you an order out. 10 years would go by and you would not have judges issuing orders. So I have seen that in the federal courts, not so much in the state courts because we elect our judges. They answer to the people. They know that in 6 years, they're going to be up for an election, and they're going to have an opponent if they are not doing what essentially, and that's a hard position to be.
Yeah.
You know, my father-in-law was a judge for 20-something years. And he said, if you do your job, if when you leave, both sides are mad at you, because that means that you were fair. Because one side didn't leave super happy and the other side super upset. And that the public, generally speaking, half of them will like you and half of them won't if you're doing the job right.
I like that.
That's good.
We should remember that in general
Truly.
in life.
Yeah, we should put that on the quote board.
You need a quote board.
We do. Like, there's so many things that have been said in here. We're like, we should probably write that down.
You need to write a book. I wish I'd started at the beginning of the campaign trail.
Writing all the stories.
A local defense attorney said, Pamela, keep a journal. I'm a writer. And I wish I could have, because, you know, it's like this. It's
It's not too late.
Oh, Lord, I'd have to take forever to catch up.
You can just start today. You got plenty of time left.
Yeah.
May 19th is, I mean, the next few months are going to be insane. We're watching what's happening in Minnesota. What tools does the Attorney General's office have to combat illegal immigration and kind of keep us out of what's happening in Minneapolis?
So I've got so many things to say about that. So I don't think that people understand. Let's say, for example, law enforcement pulls over an office or pulls a car over, and they go and guy says, I don't have a driver's license, but I have my social security number. And you go back and run it, and let's say it comes up. They could be actually a foreign national. They could be here legally and could have an Alabama driver's license. You get a social security number. So you get all those things. There's a lot of tools that we need to have in place in Alabama to assist our law enforcement in attempting to combat illegal immigration. Okay. So Alabama, the AG's office can work. You're the top law enforcement officer, right? You can work with those agencies across the state, and you're working with your federal partners to identify potential areas where you believe there could be pockets of illegal immigrants. Look, I think we all agree we're not against immigration. What we want is legal immigrants to come to our state to participate. So as AG, we're going to make sure we're training our local officers to understand and identify those people that are here illegally, and also to notify federal partners. There were years, especially as DA, that you would call the feds and call the feds and call the feds. Hey, I got somebody here, And it would take forever to get somebody with ICE or an ICE hold to come and pick somebody up. And so we've seen that transition during the Trump administration to where it's a lot easier to get our federal partners to pick up people who are here illegally. I'll never forget prosecuting a human trafficking case for somebody who was here legally, right? Yeah. And they kept saying, just let us deport him. Let us deport him. The defense attorneys did. And I said, no, I owe a duty to all the children in the world to not put him back out on the streets. And so I think as AG, you do a really good job working with law enforcement, identifying that and understanding what the tools are. You know, and the public's got to understand that law enforcement has a role to play. They're not the big bad boogeyman. You know, I always find it interesting. Half the people think law enforcement's big bad boogeyman, and the other people appreciate what they do. But when these people have a problem and they call 911, who do they expect to show up? Law enforcement. Yeah. And they want them to help them.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, law enforcement's understaffed, underpaid, and overworked. And they are the people putting their lives on the line for us every single day. And, you know, you see those decisions that are made spur of the moment. It's hard. It's hard to wear a badge. It's hard to make. I've seen that for almost 20 years talking to guys. And people are leaving the force. I've got local people who are leaving because it isn't worth it to them anymore to be dragged through the mud if they make the wrong decision at the wrong time or what's perceived to be the wrong decision.
Well, pivoting from that, let's talk about election integrity. What are the non-negotiables for election integrity?
Well, let me tell you what I discovered over the last 2 weeks. We just indicted a gentleman in Blount County for a non-U.S. citizen voting in our elections. He had voted 9 times. Did you know that when you go to register, and everybody, and I've kind of had this debate on social media lately, if I take someone down to register them, voter, not me, just let's say, you know, your sister goes, she moves to Alabama, she goes down to register. A photo ID is not required to register. as long as you have a driver's license or you have a social security number. Well, let's stop for a second. People who are here legally, foreign nationals get a social security number and they get a driver's license number. As long as you put that.
Hello, welcome back. I'm Amy Beth Shaver with Allison Sinclair and JP.
Still yelling.
We are what? I'm sorry.
You're
Got
not.
really fired up.
I'm sorry.
No, I like
Did
it.
I get too fired up?
Yeah, no,
did.
you're ready
Well,
to go.
I hate to interrupt y'all's off-air conversations, but
JP.
But
sometime-
what? We have a story?
well, no, I want to make sure we're on the same page going into segments.
So
Yeah.
here's what we're going to do.
What are we doing?
Do you have those days where your kids just text you because they need your help immediately?
Jennings called me 900 times yesterday. And finally she said, are you just really sick of me? And I didn't have the heart to say yes. But I'm like, I have a life too.
It is one of those things where you're helping and you wait to help because there's something they actually need help with. But it just happens on those days when your whole day's already exploded.
Yes.
And then you see their day is exploding too. And you're like, okay. Anyway, here's what we're going to do. Because we were talking about Erica, Candace, and that whole situation, I'm just going to say the situation. It really does dovetail into Tucker and what he had to say. And then from Tucker and what he had to say, because those stories are related, they really are. Then we'll jump back into the montage. But the bigger point, maybe at the beginning, was Erica. Nope. The little A was Erica. But the big number one after that is leading into what this means for Tucker. And really overarching the umbrella we're holding over the whole story is something we talked about last week. The umbrella is what's true. And getting past all the glittery language and that seems so thoughtful and the perfectly turned phrase and it's Tucker, he wouldn't lie. And then you have to dive into the deep end and go, oh, there are some real problems here. And then after that, we'll talk about Eric Swalwell and move on there because that whole sex situation, that's the tip of the iceberg. Up first, though, Tucker Carlson, our used to be favorite person.
Yeah. So I just think we're watching, and I still don't have an answer for why. I don't know if internally this is organic and they are all coming to these places on their own, or if there's an external force at work, maybe on all of them, or some of them. It could absolutely be, and I know everything is a spiritual battle, but we're watching Alex Jones, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson. So many of them are just deviating from where we've seen. Now, a lot has changed over the past few years, so I get it. But I think what's important, and I have to tell myself, is there's a lot of past that may be really good. But when you get into a pattern of verbiage and talk in the present, if it starts to sound off, one time, maybe we need some clarification. We just don't understand the context. 2 times, but when it starts adding up, what used to be in the past has to kind of disappear. And you've got to take what you're reading at some point at face value. It's kind of like with Donald Trump. I don't know how many D chesses we need to play. Like at some point, the actions are the actions. And we may not know why, but you have to evaluate them based on reality, I guess. So I'm going to read what Tucker posted yesterday. And then I'd like to kind of go through and break it down because what he says is so deceptive and so spirit. Y'all, I hate it when people throw around the word demonic, but there's some, just follow me here.
Okay.
The people in charge let me start over. The people in charge don't want you to know this, but Muslims love Jesus. Islam reveres him, capital H-I-M, as a major prophet and messenger of the Lord, believes he performed miracles, and states that he will return to earth to defeat the Antichrist. That's why Donald Trump's painting depicting himself as the son of God offended the president of Iran. It was an attack on his religion as well as Christianity. Today's Morning Note newsletter covers Masoud Peshkiskian's condemnation of Trump's desecration of Jesus, the Iran war's gutting effects of America's housing market, Colombia's plan to murder Pablo Escobar's hippopotami, and more. Okay, so anyway, what he put in the newsletter is the top story in his newsletter is how Iran is so offended by Donald Trump's because, quote, Muslims love Jesus. Okay. The people in charge don't want you to know this, but Muslims love Jesus. All right. Who is he talking about? Who are the people in charge?
Normally, it's the deep state and the neocons when Tucker talks about the people in charge.
Okay. Do you think that's who he's referring to here?
I do.
Okay.
I think, well, I mean, Beth.
Does that include Donald Trump?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that's who.
Because in the past, would Donald Trump have been included in his deep state cabal group?
No.
Okay.
But I mean, Tucker even said last week he referred to Trump being a slave to BB and the deep state. So that, at least that's how I'm reading it, Tucker. When he's the people who are in charge, he's talking about the deep state that are using Trump. Yeah.
Which is now Trump.
Yeah.
And
or at least
Susie
he views,
Wiles
or at
and
least
his surrounding people.
Yeah, he views Trump
Okay.
at least as a puppet for them.
What do you think? Who is
Perhaps
the people in charge don't want you to know?
it could be anybody. And so immediately, without being specific, because he's using cloudy language, he doesn't really want you to know who they are. It's just an easy thing to say.
Okay.
It's not a very good speaking. When you don't want to know, when you don't want people to actually know what you're talking about, you're not specific. He's not being specific. He's just throwing spaghetti at the wall and saying they,
and
his
just let you
followers
fill
will
in the
go.
blank.
The most powerful technique on earth is what you mentioned earlier today. You put things together. I heard a guy say this yesterday. He's a speaking coach. You put a Lego here and a Lego here in front of somebody, and there's space. And you don't even bring up the Lego, but the person is going to make up a story about how to get those Legos together so that they fit together. That's what Tucker's doing. Who are they? Obviously, Trump. Your brain made up that it's Trump. Your brain made up that it's administration. Your brain made that up. He didn't have to fill in the blank for you. You did it yourself. And guess what? Now, speaking tip wise, you're bought into whatever he says next.
Right. That's really insightful, Abs. It's like in the eyes of the beholder. It's whoever they is to whoever's reading it. That's a good point.
Well, yeah, and it gets him off the hook.
It's like, I'm just asking questions.
Exactly.
And you're much more likely to get people. That's pretty good.
That's good. That's good.
I've watched a lot of Tucker over the years.
Well, you're much more likely to get people to buy into it if you don't specify, because then they have something to disagree with. Well, now they don't. It's just the people. All right, the next comma, but Muslims love Jesus.
No, they do not. Am I allowed to speak, or are you going to keep reading? I want to be.
Oh,
very
no.
respectful.
I want you to talk about that.
So, number one, this is Liz Wheeler, but you can find it anywhere on the webs or any searches that you've done. Muslims reject the divinity of Jesus. They do not love Jesus. They reject Jesus as the Son of God. They reject Jesus as the second person of the Trinity. Period. They do not love Jesus. But when they meet you, because it's the Mecca strategy, they will love whatever Jesus you think they're talking about. It's the same with Tucker and they. It is not the same Jesus. They do not love Jesus. That is heretical.
Well, here's the angle I believe Tucker is trying to pull on this one, because I think what he's doing is taking a truth and then exaggerating it, and then also taking that truth and twisting it into a bigger agenda and a bigger picture issue he's trying to tackle. Because, like, technically Islam believes Jesus was a prophet. Technically, Islam actually believes that Jesus will come back. Technically, these things are true on paper. But the angle that Tucker is trying to pull on this is that Islam reveres Jesus, Jews hate Jesus. And he's trying to, the dichotomy here of, whoa, we're at war against the people that revere Jesus because, and on behalf of the people that hate Jesus. And that is the angle he's trying to pull on this. But the language of it, of they don't want you to know that Muslims love Jesus. It's like what Ab said. They don't love Jesus. They view him as a prophet. He said great things. He was very wise, and Allah would not even allow him to be crucified. Like so they on paper think that he was a great prophet, but that does not mean that they love Jesus. They are hostile to Christianity, obviously, and they're not cohesive with our Christian values and our Western culture. So no, he's taking a on paper truth and twisting it into an agenda. And it involves Israel and this war. So I agree.
Because here, okay, so he says Muslims love Jesus. And what you're saying, it is true. The Jews don't even believe Jesus was a prophet.
They believe he's burning in sacrament. Yeah.
Yeah. The Muslims do believe Jesus was a prophet and they revere him and his teaching. And some of their books are based off of some of the old Christian faith, Jesus' life. But he goes on and he says, Islam reveres him, capital H-I-M, which what do you automatically think? I think you should say God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. To me, when you capitalize him, that means God, which immediately you think Trinity. That's just not the case. The Muslims do not believe Jesus was the savior of the world. He is not the Messiah. He is not the same as God, Allah, in their eyes. But Tucker is purposefully capitalizing him. Major prophet and messenger of the Lord, capital Lord. They don't believe in the Lord. That is not the same God. But Tucker is making it sound like he does. They say he believes he performed miracles. Okay, maybe they do. I don't know about that one. It states that he will return to earth to defeat the Antichrist. Okay, sounds great. So what he's saying is Jesus will return to defeat the Antichrist. Antichrist isn't even really a thing. But if it were, if Jesus isn't the savior to the Muslims, he can't come back to save you from the Antichrist. And honestly, in the Muslim faith, we are the infidels.
Yes.
We're the ones that Jesus would come back to destroy if you want to go down that road. So what he is saying is so twisted. And when you break it down, you go, what the hell county? Like, I thought Tucker was getting so close in his faith journey. I mean, when we went and heard him speak, he was so good. And you've watched him kind of get there. He grew up Episcopal, and he even talked about it. He said, I used to not ever talk about Jesus, and now I'm talking about Jesus, saying Jesus Christ. It was just this God. But man, I can't even.
Couple of things. In 2025, 4,849 Christians were murdered for their faith. 93% were murdered by Islamists in Africa. The Muslim leaders are online from America telling us their point. Believe or be killed. In their own words, this is not hyperbole. It's not. This is what they say. So Tucker has been deceived, and I am not going to listen to what he has to say anymore. And I'm sad because remember when he had a lot of hair on CNN, and they would do, was it Crossfire?
Crossfire.
Right? It was such a good show. He has contributed so much to America and to our communities. He does need discipleship, but he is deceived. I don't know if it's because he brought property in Qatar. Wasn't it Qatar where he bought property, or Abu Dhabi? So his handlers there are giving him that traveler's fallacy treatment, where when you travel to another country, you only see the good. You don't see the bad. Unless you go on mission trips outside of the United States and you see all of it. There's no traveler's fallacy then. So he is so upper crust and elite. He's never going to see the slums. He's never going to see women being abused. He's never going to see 9-year-olds being married to and sexually assaulted. He's never going to hear about any of that because he's Tucker. So they murder Christians for their faith. They beat and abuse women on record. They've raped upward of 200,000 women, Pakistani rape gangs in England. They've chopped off people's heads when under Obama. Remember all the guys gathered on the beaches in the orange jumpsuits and then they were sliced with scimitars just right there for their faith. This is so incredibly disturbing. But it is, I've got a quote from Winston Churchill in 1899. Is it okay if I read it?
Mhm.
I didn't know you were going to bring this up, but I found it last night. And I was like, oh, I'll just save this for another day. This is Winston Churchill, the dude. Individual Muslims, this is what they said back in the day, may show splendid qualities, but the influence of the religion paralyzes the social development of those who follow it. No stronger retrograde force exists in the world. Far from being moribund, Mohammedanism is a militant and proselytizing faith. Were it not that of Christianity is sheltered in the strong arms of science, the civilization of modern Europe might fall, as well as fell the civilization of ancient Rome. Now, he would roll over in his grave if he could see it now. Were it not for Christianity, the civilized world would have fallen. Man. Tucker Carlson, we are so sorry for you. You are deceived. They do not love Jesus. They hate him. It is a cult. And we've got to get this right. They're not even hiding who they are anymore. I'm so sorry that it has been hidden from you.
Well, I think he needs to understand that just because you have, and this is what we're always up against, right? Just because you have a difference with the Jewish faith or maybe the geopolitical stance of America against Israel doesn't mean you have to go off into this far ditch. And it's weird. Like,
yeah,
so weird.
We're way off the grid.
I think, and we actually had a comment says Jews also believe their Messiah will also come back to destroy idolaters / Christians. Tucker is siding with the lesser of two evil religions. And this is where I reject that because, like I said earlier, on paper, like if you played them out on paper, you could make the argument Islam respects Jesus more than Judaism. And you could make that argument just on paper. But that does not mean you have to side with the lesser of, I'm Team Christ. I'm Team America. Okay. So you can say, and I've actually mentioned this several times of there's an entry point with Islam because of their respect for Jesus. If they like what he taught, like what he said, okay, that's an entry point you can use to bring them to Christ. That's not an entry point to kick up and chill with the Muslims and say, well, they love Jesus too. They don't. They actually take Christians who won't renounce their faith on the beach and behead them. Like that is that religion. So no, you don't side with Islam. You don't say, well, they love Jesus. And like I said, I know the angle Tucker's playing on it of against Israel in this war, and I'm against this war. So you could say technically like I'm on Tucker's side in terms of the war, but I'm not going to pro-Iran, pro-Islam. Like you don't have to go pro-Islam. You can just say, I'm against this war for this reasons. It's not the people who hate Jesus are going to war against the people that love Jesus. No, neither side loves Jesus. One may slightly respect him more on paper. That doesn't mean they love Jesus. So yeah, I reject the dichotomy of you have to pick a side. My side is Christ. Okay. I'm not picking any side of any religion that does not believe that Christ is God. So
Well,
that's a really
That
good
was a-
conversation, though.
doozy.
That
I
was
think
a
it's
doozy.
really important and crazy about the Churchill quote that you had because bless it. I think Europe and England is gone.
It's so gone. But
Sad.
we have history to tell us what has happened, and this has been happening for about 1,000 years. Since 690 AD, this has been going on. There's been fights, and actually even before that. But we have history to tell us the truth, and Tucker just needs to dig into some history, and then he needs discipling. Because you know
somebody
what?
that could disciple him.
But for the grace of God, go any of us.
Amen.
If we don't stay in our word, if we don't stay held accountable to people who tell us the truth, we will be the exact same. We're not different. Our hearts just choose other things to latch onto. This is his. It's dangerous, but a humbling reminder.
Speaking of,
Yes, ma'am.
do we need to talk about George Santos and why he says the House Page program was
Allison, did you find that clip too? Because when I saw that it was George talking, I was like, this is for Allison Sinclair.
which is so George Santos, for all his fault, I don't know why I have such a soft heart towards him. I really do. I feel like he needs a hug and some Jesus. He has his issues and he's not a saint, but what he has seen and calling out is insane. And so he was one of the first to talk about the cages in the basement of the House office buildings. Now he's talking about why the House Page program was shut down, which was high schoolers that would come in, and they go on the House floor and they run papers back and forth and they do, some cool things because the 14 to 17-year-olds were being sexually assaulted by members and staffers. What? Now,
And you know what the crazy part is? When you hear that, you're like, yeah, I can see that happening.
Oh, what did you think was going to happen? You send cute girls up there, cute boys.
but if they're in the pay, okay, if they're in the, because I get some 17-year-old girls look like they're 30. I get it.
Yeah.
But if they're running your papers and notes back and forth, maybe just assume they're underage.
Yeah,
It's so
just
gross.
Look away.
I don't know. Go George. He just seems not afraid. And then you've got Swalwell and Stephen Miller.
That was the part that blew me away. The fact that he just so confidently, openly said that. Yeah, the
Mhm.
Democrats have blackmail in all their politicians and they release them whenever they see fit. Like Swalwell, maybe they don't want them to be governor. Okay, they release, But it's the way, just confidently said, yeah, they got files on all their guys and all their politicians, and they sit on them and use them as leverage and then release them whenever they see fit.
Do you think Republicans don't do that? Do you think
The
it doesn't
Republicans-
happen in Montgomery?
That's the other part of it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Both sides. We're equal opportunity offenders. Both sides do this. They take them on trips. They get them in compromising situation. And oops, you're going to vote with us forever.
Don't ever go overseas with a group from Montgomery.
Ever.
We've heard some stories. You'll never come back the same.
Mm-mm.
Just saying.
You heard it here for free.
Look, if we have to tell you, that's a problem. Not saying always, though. We don't have to qualify.
We do have,
There are still some really good people in Montgomery and DC.
and they'll be
There
coming.
really are.
And they'll be coming on our show in the weeks and months ahead. But be aware.
Just clock it somewhere. I love it. Clock it. Okay, I don't know what we're doing when we
We
get
got to do
back.
hot flash news.
Oh, hot flash news. Blech. We'll be right back.
License number on it, and it verifies as a valid license, you're on the voting rolls. Now let's take a foreign national. He never had to show his driver's license. Had he been required to show his driver's license, at the top it says FN driver's license, foreign national. Okay, he's now on our voting rolls or our voting list. He goes down to vote, and this is what's happening. presents his foreign national driver's license. And let me stop and say, poll workers are angels from God. You have to sit there 14 hours.
Yep.
You can't leave, can't come back, type situation. We have polling pads. You scan your driver's license. A foreign national license will shoot up an error message. All the poll worker will do is take that license, confirm he's on that list, and give him a ballot, him or her a ballot. Okay, now, that's a problem. There's a presumption if you're on that voting list that you are a U.S. citizen. Okay? I hand you a foreign national license, they may go, well, now this is a foreign national license, but you can say, well, I got citizenship since I had my license made. There are so many holes, and it's scary, you know. And look, there was a long time I thought some of this was rhetoric. Oh, we're talking about, that's a problem. And people say, oh, well, Pamela, it was only one vote in Blount County. Well, if you look at that Guntersville mayor's race this past summer, it was a tie vote. If you look at that Senate race down in Auburn several years ago, it was determined by one vote. And I think it just goes to show one vote matters. You know, you have so many people in the state and the country is like, I'm not going to vote. My vote doesn't count. It didn't matter. It does. And if we allow non-U.S. citizens to vote in our election, it's canceling out the legal votes that are out there. So, you know, that's a big issue that's got to be fixed. Is we've got to get the legislature to require that you provide some type of photo identification. Because here's the thing, I've dealt with identity theft cases years. What stops somebody from just getting somebody's driver's license number, going down there, putting it on the paper and getting on our voting list when they're not here legally? So I think that is a problem, but I think it's an easy fix.
So in addition to that, are there any other safeguards that you would want to implement to?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it ever hurts to audit our elections. And let me just say this. I mean, I get audited by the public examiners. You know, I've been audited 4 times since I've been DA. And all that is checking to make sure you're doing what's right. I've never worried about an audit. I've had 4 perfect audits because I'm like, I ain't doing anything wrong. I don't care. I think it's important that we do audit our different ballots to make sure it's working. You know, I've talked to my guys who set the machines up several times. I'm like, tell me how that works. That's the conversation I wanted to have. And they tell me there's no way those are connected to the internet, this and that. But we all know that machines are fallible, and you just got to make sure they're working correctly. It all works right until it doesn't.
That's so
Right.
true.
So let's talk about the office. How does the AG use the departments within the state government to serve the people of Alabama well?
Okay. Let's talk about, you got criminal appeals, you got capital litigation, you've got public corruption, you've got the trial division, the civil division. So every different division within that office serves a purpose or role. First of all, over half of the employees that work in there handle a criminal aspect in the state. That's why I think it's so important that you have someone with experience in criminal law. You know, General Marshall was a DA before he became Attorney General. I think that's why he has been successful, as he had run an office. He understood that, and he could focus on some of those outside things, federal overreach, because he had a really good grasp on the criminal aspect of it. Every criminal appeal, every trial that's tried, conviction that's made, the appeal is handled through the Alabama Attorney General's office. That's the biggest division that handles that. Your capital lit division, your violent crimes. Capital lit's our death penalty cases. I mean, we're talking about taking somebody's life. I'm the only candidate in this race that's ever stood in front of a jury and said, I want you to put this man to death for beating this 18-month-old child to death and letting him lay there. So I think it's important that somebody understand that. Now, your civil aspects is also handling those cases, opioid type things. But also we represent the agencies and the commissions and the other elected officials. Look, I've been sued, had to be represented by the Alabama Attorney General's office. I get it. I know how important it is to have people in that civil division that understands what the work of the local elected officials and state officials do. And so I think I bring a really good understanding of how the office worked. I've worked in it. I've also worked on the outside of running a state office. And I think that's what makes me just uniquely qualified.
What happens when someone submits a complaint to you? How will you handle that? And how do you balance the personal connections sometimes that you already have around the state with what you need to prosecute?
Okay. I think my record in Blount County has been pretty clear. I've prosecuted people I went to high school with for sex crimes. I prosecuted police officers for sex crimes. I prosecuted mayors. I prosecuted people that sometimes it's not always easy to do, but the people put you there for a job. And so, if we get complaints or public corruption in our office, we're going to handle it, because I truly believe that you have to do what's right. Sometimes it.
Hello and welcome back. This has just been kind of a meat and potatoes day. We love it.
I like it.
You know what,
It's a good
though?
pot roast.
I'll say this with the morning. I feel like we all kind of had a crazy morning. Do you think Satan tries to meddle and throw us off because he knows we're about to
Kill it.
or it's not us, it's the Holy Spirit. But I noticed that sometimes. I feel like the days or the nights before where Satan just does Satan, and then the
Satan
next
does
day you
Satan.
really feel like the Holy Spirit's working through you. I feel like I felt that today. But I wanted to throw that in. I think it has been a meat and potatoes sort of show.
Very insightful. Yes.
Young
Yep.
grasshopper.
You're so smart.
Well, it is, I will say, and we talk about this. I don't know if we've really talked about it on air, but we'll have some really tough weeks with whatever issue, with whatever thing that happens. And we'll kind of leave, after the show, we'll meet for about 10 minutes, kind of hash through it. And then we always leave and go, but God has shown up every single time. And without fail, within like 24, 48 hours, God shows up so big. So I think there's some comfort in that. You're
Absolutely.
like, this isn't really fun, but we'll be fine.
Exactly.
We had a rough night, but hey, we're going to have a heck of a show.
Today's going to be a great day.
It's
And
going
you
to
know
be
what?
a great
Today
day.
has been a great day. And we haven't even gotten to hot flash news yet.
I mean, can you even imagine? Can you even handle all the fun we're about to have before 12:00? A lot of fun. So get your comments loaded up and ready. Thank you for sprinkling them throughout the show, JP.
And thank you we had one listener who was confused about allegedly, and we kind of clarified that at the beginning. And what I want to say is, so he came back today.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna
His
get through
comments
this
on the
together.
screen now.
Thank you so much
Yep.
for coming back.
David, we're
We
in
appreciate
this
you.
together.
Also, a beautiful profile picture. Is that the Grand Canyon?
Oh my word. I like your hat, dude.
Yeah,
great
that
hat.
does look very canyony.
It does.
It could be like Sand Mountain. Have you ever been up? There's like a mini Grand Canyon in North Alabama. It's super
so
cool.
pretty.
Oh, I played football up there.
In the canyon?
High school, well, not the canyon, but Colbert Heights is up on Sand Mountain. We lost that game, but I've been up there, played
Yeah.
football. But
Did you ever seen anybody snake handling up there?
no, not snake handling.
Jared had to go to one of those churches for his Bible class at Sanford.
No, he did not.
Legit. It was in North Alabama. Yeah.
Oh, there's some crazy Church of Christ. I mean, they're everywhere, but yeah, there's some in North Alabama. Yeah, I believe it's Church of Christ, isn't it?
It's
Mm-mm.
Pentecostal.
Pentecostal.
Sorry, I defamed. the
You
Church
know
of
what?
Christ.
Yeah.
It may be a Church of God in Christ. Like it's just one of those that you don't hear of. All you know is if you grow up in Alabama, in Sand Mountain, and you've seen the pictures of people handling snakes during the service based on that Matthew verse. That's something we're never going to do. Just in case you wondered, we're not going to handle snakes.
I'll just say this one part: the Sand Mountain game at Colbert Heights. I just remember every first down was sponsored. So it was like on the speaker, they get first down. You hear, "That's a Colbert Heights first down, sponsored by Steak Farm." Sponsored by.
I love it.
It was really funny.
I
But
love
anyways.
it. Well, you know what we can handle?
Oh gosh, my child is calling me.
Oh dear.
Why?
I don't know why. Does she know what you
She's
do?
the one that never calls me.
Oh.
Hey, I'm on air. Oh well, she's scrappy. She'll figure it out. Let's do hot flash news.
She
Okay.
really is
It's
scrappy.
time for hot flash news.
Excuse me.
Okay,
She's so cute.
at least when you get to that age and you
She
burp
said,
out loud,
"Excuse me."
no one cares.
Excuse me.
Oh my gosh, y'all, if I ever get there, my grandmother, and she had dementia, but we'd be sitting there at the table and she would just let longest little burp out. Not even little. I can't even call it little. And I remember going, oh my God.
Is that Nana?
No, that was Vanita May.
Oh, Why don't you be Vanita May?
That would be a good, forget I'm a rose bush. I'm
You're-
going to be Vanita May.
Yeah.
Rip Vanita May. Anyway, don't let me start burping.
Okay, I won't.
Okay.
I won't. It's okay.
Let me just, okay. So for Hot Flash News, in theory, it goes, I read a headline. We kind of hit some headlines real quickly. Y'all react. You swipe right. Like, she's hot. I want to know more about her. You swipe left if you're like, but she has a great personality.
She seems funny.
She seems nice. So here we go. Okay. I need to watch y'all's face. Divorced Republican finds love again with 21-year-old as he launches comeback after nude sex tape with male staffer destroyed his career.
Can you say arranged marriage, boys and girls?
And that's Washington, D.C. for you.
Don't know who I'm talking about?
Was it the one that was on video in the committee room?
No.
Wait.
Do
You're
you-
saying a person that's been elected to office is remarried to a 21-year-old after a fling with a dude.
There's so much in this headline from the Daily Mail. Okay. And there's so much I didn't know. And it makes okay, let me read it one more time.
Okay. I just want to make sure I got this right.
Divorced Republican.
Okay.
Finds love again with 21-year-old as he launches comeback after nude sex tape with male staffer destroyed his career.
Oh.
Did they clarify, is it a male or female 21-year-old?
Okay. Well, there's a picture y'all can't see. But y'all know who this is because this is at the beginning before we went on air and I was freaking out. Remember and y'all were like, what's that story? What are you reading? This is what I was reading. And I didn't know if I was the only one that didn't know. Madison Cawthorn.
What?
Y'all, I don't remember him being caught with a nude sex tape with a male staffer.
He's in a wheelchair.
Madison Cawthorn?
There's
in a wheelchair.
There's another element of this story here.
Does Madison have an eye patch?
No.
Or just he's in a wheelchair?
He's just in a wheelchair. But I didn't know who it was.
Is Madison the one who mentioned that there were sexual escapades?
He's the one that talks about
sexcapades.
Yes.
Oh boy, this is not good.
Okay. It says the one-time youngest member of Congress got engaged to Alyssa Mata outside of Rome's Colosseum and announced the happy news. Here's what I didn't know. The Daily, I can't even read it. Okay. There was a close male friend and staff member that was at the center of a complaint calling for an investigation into Cawthorn when he was in Congress. It claimed that Cawthorn, a Republican then representing North Carolina, provided thousands of dollars in loans and gifts to his close aide and scheduler, Stephen Smith, who was 23. He was allegedly in an improper relationship. Amid the allegations, Cawthorn lost re-election and moved to Florida, from where he discussed launching. Anyway, there's this picture.
Ew.
Y'all didn't know about the male staffer. Okay, I feel better because I had no clue that was a thing.
I had no clue
That
either.
story was disappeared by the people who handle his reputation management online.
Well, it's back. And
Ew.
even we know about it now.
Ew.
But it is weird because he's the one that was calling out the orgies and the cocaine and like everything happening. And how did I miss that? It's kind of a big deal.
Well, I mean, with the amount of staffer politician relationships we've talked about this week, is it just that, like, if you're wanting to be a staffer or one to up and come, is it just you pick whichever politician you think is the most attractive? Like, is that the game that it goes with now? Because I seem like every time we've talked about like 10 stories about staffers with politicians, I'm like, I did not think it was this.
I don't think
insane.
I don't think it matters who you work for. The staffers run
Well, I
run the hill.
yeah,
I mean,
picked up on that.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Like, does everybody just have like staffer well, not everybody, but I don't know. That's been shocking to me. Maybe that was my naivete, but it's like, really?
Yeah.
Seriously? Anyways.
I don't even think they have to be hot. It seems to not matter. Okay, I'm going to read a quote, and I want y'all to tell me who said this and if you agree. What happened today with Tony Gonzalez was disgusting because those allegations have been out there for months. You have to ask yourself what changed today that allowed him to resign now as opposed to last week, 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago. The difference is that they were waiting on a political calculation, a numbers game. When someone is committing abuse, they should be out. It doesn't matter whether a Democrat resigns, a Republican resigns, or whether there's some kind of trade. If you're guilty of this, that's it. Who said it, and do you agree?
I know who, so I'll let Amy Beth guess.
Oh,
I do not know who said that. I'm wondering if somebody like Gavin Newsom, because he's forever coming back at Republicans like that. It could also be one of our own, but I really don't know
do you agree?
that they should be out.
Yeah, that it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat.
Yeah, I mean, if you abuse somebody, go. You got to go.
Yeah, that was AOC.
I agree.
And I actually was like, holy schmoly, I agree with her. And it's exactly what we talked about yesterday. What changed? And it is political theater.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gross.
They don't take out one unless they can take out the other one on the other side as well.
That's right.
So it's an even playing field. And yeah, it's not because of their more, I'm just appalled by what Eric Swalwell did. It's because, okay, we got Gonzalez out too. Okay, now we can take Swalwell. It's such a gross, yeah.
It's grody.
It is so grody.
Speaking of grody, nearly 20 people were arrested on the Strip following Saturday's A-Day game in Tuscaloosa. What? What was that?
I
What
don't
happened
know.
in your town?
I don't know, but the A-Day game needs to go away.
Why?
It is inviting nothing but this crap. It always has. But
Wait, really? Since forever it has?
it's always been a problem. It's like you you don't go out in T-Town on A-Day because it's troublemakers from everywhere in the state that are coming. I don't know what it is about A-Day, but that's just kind of become a thing. And actually, I saw one of the Tuscaloosa city council members put up a post calling for A-Day to be gotten rid of because of this. It's always, I don't know what it is about A-Day, but they just come, people from across the state, rival gangs and others. And it's not just, I think it was actually Scott Buttram. He's from Tuscaloosa. He's been very vocal on this on Twitter, and some people were accusing him of being racist. And he's like, it's not a one race issue. It is. I mean, the rival gangs or whatever is just one element of it. Just people across the state from all different backgrounds. They just come to Tuscaloosa on A-Day and to do no good. But it was really bad Saturday. I wasn't there, but I don't know what it is. It needs to go bye-bye. Because right now, spring games are going bye-bye altogether. You know, there was barely anybody at the A-Day game. I was a little shocked. A-Day used to be you sold out A-Day every year. There was like maybe 25% of the stadium filled. So if you're not getting the return on people coming and you're just inviting chaos, then I say just get rid of it.
Agree. Let it go. No reason for that because it's high school kids. They're creating, I saw that. They're creating the mayhem. Their parents certainly aren't going to control them. So,
but why if the team wants to do it, why can't they just get the town under control?
Well, it's not the town. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they did preparation. Like, I'm sure the police aren't stupid and they know that this is coming. But I guess there's only so much you can do. I mean, the only other thing I think you can do is just shut down the strip, like just put cars on both ends and just nobody's going on the strip. But there's only so much you can do.
It's so sad.
Do they go to Auburn and do that?
Not that I know of. I don't know what it is. Something about Alabama A-Day. Something about it.
JD Vance responded about the Pope's comments and the war. Did y'all see it?
What did he say?
He said, when the Pope says God is never on the side of those who wield the sword, there is more than 1,000-year tradition of just war theory in Christianity. Just as I have to be careful when speaking about public policy as vice president, the Pope should be very careful when speaking about theology. If you're going to opine on matters of theology, it must be anchored in truth. That's what I strive for, and it's exactly what we should expect from the clergy, Catholic or Protestant. And he's Catholic. What do y'all think?
I agree. there's also plenty of references in the Bible for war. You can read it. It's in there. I mean, it just is in there. So that when he said that, I thought, well, that doesn't make any sense at all. But also, this is the same Pope who has just gone to a mosque, shoes off, creating an alliance with Muslims, creating a space in the Vatican for a Muslim prayer room.
Golly.
So
That's right.
I'm at this point done with what and he blessed a block of ice for climate change. So yes, there's the just war, but there's other areas where he is just taking on and charting his own course. And I'm like, I respect the church, especially when it comes to life and pro-life issues. I have a lot of Catholic friends, but this one it's a non-starter for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair game to disagree with the Pope. I don't think he's infallible. I think it's all in the manner of which you do it. And JD Vance is a Catholic, so, and I'm not saying non-Catholics can't criticize the Pope, but it's the manner of which you do it, because I do think it's important to do it with respect, especially if you're the president of the United States. Disagree with respect and have reasons and examples, like saying that the Pope is soft on crime and all. He's talking about the Pope as if he's a leader where he's not. So I'm all for disagreeing with the Pope whenever, like, I disagree with the Pope on immigration and other things. There's actually some parts of what he said about this war I do agree with, not all of it, but yeah, it's just in the manner of which you do it.
So I have a follow-up question to that, and then I have a game, and then I can be done. Follow-up question is, should the Pope be speaking into the political arena at all? Like, whether it's foreign policy or legislation, or should he be involved in speaking to political issues?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because that's the world. I mean, that's the world operates via politics. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. His people are looking for him to give guidance, and they don't have to agree with it. But I think if you are reading through Old and New Testament, the way that the world was set up is that the kings and their preachers, or the Pope, whoever it was, like, the world was better when we did what the Bible said. But he holds a very important position, whether we like that position or not. And I think he absolutely has every right to speak to what's going on in culture.
Like I said, I think the onus is on the leaders to be able to take the criticism and respectfully disagree in a respectful manner.
So, yeah, because a lot of people online were saying, the Pope, I think Tom Homan even said it, like, I don't know for sure, but in my head, he did.
He did. You're right.
Where he said the Pope shouldn't be talking about politics at all.
Well, I think he said the Pope should stay out of immigration talk when he doesn't know what he's talking about. So,
Well, but
which
okay,
is politics,
that's politics. So stay out of it. And the thing is, that's what we're encouraging our churches to do more. So I agree. I guess it's dangerous. It really is, because when you have a leader, especially like the Pope, if you get it wrong, there are a lot of people that do think you're infallible, that do think you're speaking truth in everything you say. But that's just part of it, I guess. You don't have to agree with them. But yeah, you let the family work it out. Okay, here's a final game. A year ago, what were gas prices in Alabama? How much was a gallon of gas?
Ooh.
Close to $5
A year ago?
Oh no, a year ago. No,
That would have been
year.
right after Trump got inaugurated.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the.
It was high, wasn't it? High, and then they came down, and now they're going back up again.
I feel like they really plummeted at first in Trump's presidency.
So we're 3 months. If we're a year ago, we're 3 months into the presidency.
It was around the like.
Three?
No, it was in the twos.
Is it in the twos? I've blocked it out.
I think it was like around.
I have so many cars to fill up. I don't even.
I think it was around low twos, like 210, around that range.
AL.com is reporting it was 281 a year ago. What was it a month ago?
Also, have a lot of cars to fill up. I'm not sure.
$327. And today, the average is $384.
Hurts my feelings.
We're an entire dollar up in just a year.
Mm.
And 60 cents, basically 57 cents from a month ago per gallon.
Now's a good time to join that, like 5 cents per gallon off at the gas station.
Does that even matter?
Chris thinks
does
it
it make
does,
you
but
feel
I
better?
don't. I don't. Every time I'm like, no, of course not, because I'll be right back here in 6 days.
You spend more gas driving all the way out to Costco.
It's a waste of time.
More money than to get your 5 cents. I guess maybe if you can join like Shell rewards or something.
Chris is part of MAPCO rewards.
My aunt is a part of Shell Rewards.
Maybe it does add up.
Maybe we should join and see. Guys, let's
Guess
all
it does add
join
up.
and let's see if it adds up.
That's a fun game.
Okay?
I would say this on a serious note, though. That is just the evidence that the Strait does have a little bit, at least a little bit of importance on us domestically.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Is the war over?
Okay, well, that's Trump went on Fox and claimed, it's so funny how he said it. He was like, I think it was Bartiromo asked him, is the war done? He was like, well, I think it could be. I don't know. I think it could be over. I don't know how much longer they can survive, but I would think, yeah, I would say maybe, yeah. Like, it's such a non-answer, but I don't know. I don't think it is.
It doesn't seem over.
It doesn't feel over, but they are apparently, I was listening to, I guess, the Daily Wire on the way in, and whoever was reporting based on what Trump had said, that maybe it is over. And maybe it's propaganda that we don't think it's over. Like, it's been so confusing from start to finish.
Yeah.
That he keeps coming back to. It was always about the nuclear program and not having access to make nuclear weapons and, the other bullet points from his talking points. But I finished thinking, okay, he thinks it's over. It doesn't feel like it's over. I think it was about the nukes. I'm not really sure. Time will tell. That's what it was as clear as mud.
Yeah.
Did y'all see Maloney's comments, though, on Trump?
No.
Oh, gosh.
What'd she say?
They were here. Let me.
Was she not nice? Can you say it with an Italian accent?
Has she gone
It's
out
my
with Elon
favorite.
yet?
No.
Oh, she.
I think people were trying to ship that.
Well, she just.
Yeah.
She went after Trump about.
He didn't think we're funny.
Sorry, I was reading. While I wasn't. I have to admit, I wasn't listening. I was reading. But she just went after Trump about how his remarks toward the Holy Father are unacceptable. Yeah, and it seems like his one European ally. And then Trump responded and says she's the unacceptable one. She doesn't care if Iran gets a nuclear weapon and blows Italy to bits in 2 minutes.
Donnie.
Chippy. Scotty.
Yeah, I don't know. And there's some.
She's a big girl. She can take it.
There's also some fake quotes out there that somebody put up a fake quote that Maloney said, as far as I know, 9 nations possess nuclear weapons, and the only one that has ever used them is the United States. And Mr. Trump needs to tone it down. No one throws around nuclear threats like Washington does, but then this community noted that quote has been fabricated. But Maloney did express disappointment with his quotes towards the Pope.
That fake quote is true.
It is yeah. She didn't say it, but it would be correct.
I would like to meet her.
Yeah, I think we'd like her.
I think we'd like her
I
too.
don't know if we could talk a lot of policy,
Mm-mm.
but she's more with us than
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people.
Well,
what is happening with the Strait?
The blockade's holding, correct?
The double blockade. I saw actually that even a Chinese ship was allowed to pass through the U.S. blockade of the Strait. So
Why?
I don't know. Who knows at this point?
Were they special?
I don't know. Who knows?
My special little helper.
But the U.S. is blockading Iran's blockade. So I don't know. I saw somebody made a meme of the Sun Tzu quote from The Art of War, and it had a picture of Trump's face on Sun Tzu's body, who was like, "When your enemy implicates a blockade, you blockade their blockade." Sun Tzu, Art of War.
But how do you blockade a blockade?
You just blockade a little further.
You blockade a little further, or in the giantest, in the words of a 5-year-old, oh yeah, you've got that. What am I? But oh yeah.
Why do you want to put your resources there to blockade if somebody else is already doing it?
Because it's
a power play.
Yeah, it's our way of trying to say that we're actually in control of the strait when we're not.
Yeah.
But it's the way of showing it that we're blockading, so that means we're in control actually.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't
This
know.
is getting ridiculous.
I've got Iran fatigue at this point.
We do too.
Do we even?
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
We need your game, or would you rather? We need a game.
Okay.
You got a game?
Oh, I do have one more.
She's got a game.
I do have one more. One more. Oh God, might be over. Did you know Milo's is having 80-cent burgers? Hold on.
Is this real?
That's funny. Hold on.
I love their French fries.
The second week of April. Oh, we've already met. Oh wait, are we in the second week of April?
Well, technically,
Milo's.
No.
Depends on if you base it
Let me
when
see.
April started.
It's our 80th birthday. To kick off celebrations, we are giving away 80-cent cheeseburgers this week only in the Milo's app. Limit 1 per person. See the Milo's app for details. Everybody, go download the Milo's app, because I don't know. Are we in the? Hey, this was published April 14th. And it's the 15th. So tax day, I think you should make it better and go get an 80-cent burger. I don't like Milo. Shoot. Okay. Here it is again. Allison doesn't like something.
I don't like their burgers, but I love their
Come
fries.
on. Oh my gosh.
I don't like their sauce.
I love their burgers.
I ate a lot of chicken fingers when I was pregnant with Molly, which is why she likes chicken fingers.
Well, 80 cents, I could stomach it.
I think I could too.
When is the last time anything was 80 cents?
Don't remember.
Download the app.
Get the app, JP.
You know, there's one right here.
I was about to say, I may have to get Milo's for lunch today.
Wait, where's Milo's?
You know.
Oh, yes.
You
Yes,
know.
Duh.
Right by your favorite place.
Mm-hmm.
When my brother got married in Birmingham, my oldest brother got really drunk at his wedding, but the next day he was really hungover, and I was tasked with the duty of taking him from Birmingham to Huntsville while he was throwing up in a bag in the car.
Gosh,
but when
JP.
we were coming out, and I was like, I'm sorry, I got to get Milo's before we leave.
You got to do something good for yourself.
We were in the Milo's drive-thru, and I'd said my order, and she was like, anything else? I looked over, I was like, do you want anything? And he was like, give me a water. I was just throwing up, but I love Milo's.
There's nothing, JP, that's just cruel and unusual punishment.
Look, this is when I lived in Huntsville, and I wasn't coming to Birmingham enough. I was like, I got to get Milo's on the way out.
It gives me chills. There's nothing worse than throwing up and like a pizza commercial coming on, and you watch that cheese stream. And you're like, oh, that's what you did.
I'm sorry.
That's what you did.
I told that story at his wedding, though, at the rehearse dinner.
That's
funny.
That's funny.
Ha
Do you want me to pull up a quick would you
Yeah, but
rather
I don't
one?
want any political ones.
Just fun. Light, silly.
Let me pull it up.
Can you
here.
make it fun?
Would you rather fly at 20 miles per hour or run at 100 miles per hour?
I'm picturing any of us running
Imagine.
at any mile per hour.
I'd rather run fast than to fly slow.
I'd like to fly.
Flying would be cool.
Just 20 miles an hour?
I guess you would be really late.
Think about
Just
how
be-
dangerous it would be, though, to run at that fast.
You'd be like Roadrunner. It's my dream. And your legs are just like that.
Like, what if somebody just cut in front of you at 100 miles an hour?
It's like that.
You just
Shazam!
okay. Here's another fun one.
You did.
We can end on this one. Would you rather be in your favorite book or your favorite movie?
Book.
What if your book is a movie?
See? That's why I said it.
Okay, well that's such a loophole.
I'm so bad. Can I not just play the game? Movie.
Okay, fine, movie. I'll be in a movie.
What?
I would say book. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's my favorite book, but I really like Beowulf, and that would be a cool one.
But it's because
Beowulf.
there's fighting and swords.
And dragons and
Beowulf.
Wait, what was the big white dog dragon movie that we watched in the 80s? Oh, somebody please text in. I know you know what it's the white he flies on the back. It's not Come on. It's a weird movie.
The Legend of No, that's not it.
No.
I don't know, but we'll hold on. Let's see if any of my
It's a dragon.
The Never-Ending Story.
Yes. What was his name?
Oh, I don't know.
Beowulf.
Bastion is a young boy.
Bastion and
Falcor.
Falcor. Okay, core memories unlocked. That's what I want to fly through the air on.
That's pretty cool.
Falcor.
That would be fun.
Tomorrow, Thursday, we'll do it again. We'll see y'all then.